Hi, if you're new here, I'm Tepi. I'm guessing most of you are not new here, but if you're new here, welcome to season 2 of recording. I am going to finally be using my YouTube channel for its intended purposes. I created it to be vlogging and documenting my uni days. Thank you guys for 10k followers on TikTok. Today we're going to be discussing how I applied for university. I applied for UK universities, but University of Reading, where I am now, was my first choice. In this video, I'm going to be telling you the application that I used, why it's convenient, and also reviewing what the application needed and how I broke down those sections of what the application needs for it to actually go through and be sent to your university. Don't use this as a guide, but use this as a form of this is what Tippy experienced, and I'm going to use that as a template or as a sample of what I need as a form of, okay, this is the path that I'm going to use. So let's start off with number one. A common online application portal which is used to apply for UK universities is called UCAS. UCAS. That's a portal which a lot of students use to apply for UK universities. And the reason why it's common and the reason why it's so convenient is because I paid like a little above 500 bula for applying for 5 UK universities at the same time. So you apply for 5 universities of your choice. This is for UK universities only, 5 universities of your choice, and then you only pay like a little above 500 bula. Number one is research the universities individually before you lock them in as your choices in UCAS. Don't be going on UCAS and then you're not sure which universities you're going to choose. Yes, you can go on UCAS to be pushing the application because it obviously wants personal details and your documents and all those things. So if you know about those things, you can be pushing. Don't be going on UCAS and then looking through, randomly picking universities through there. Make sure that you go there with at least an idea of the universities that you want. You don't finish your UCAS application in a day. UCAS application can take up to like 2 weeks to finish because you'll be working on things like your personal statement, still selecting the university. You'll be working on a lot of things. So UCAS is not something that you can finish overnight. You can edit these things and change universities before you submit the application. Some terms can be ambiguous in UCAS because the thing about UCAS, especially applying internationally and online portals, some things you don't want, you have an idea of what the term means, but you don't want to risk and then answer incorrectly. So if you have that sense of being unsure, I do advise that you go to an English teacher or any teacher who is any staff member who is designated to be helping you with your university applications in your school. You could definitely do that because at my school, that's what you got to have the privilege to experience. When you're looking through the universities and when you're choosing universities, some of you may be choosing universities based off of your dream, right? A lot of you have a dream of going to Ivy League schools, and your dreams are valid. That's entirely valid. You have a dream of going to Ivy League schools, you have a dream of going to, maybe these universities are your dreams because your siblings went to them. These universities are your dreams because you see them on your For You page, because of the activities that they have. Don't make the mistake of just choosing random universities and being like, oh, I'm just choosing Ella for the sake of choosing, for the sake of finishing the application. You need to be wise when choosing. There are a lot of factors that you need to consider when you're choosing a university. Once you're choosing a university abroad, be mindful of the fact that that university is going to be your new home. You're going to be staying there. You're going to be moving there. The schools that you're choosing in general, of these 5 schools that you're going to be choosing when you're applying on UCAS for UK universities, because those are going to be your potential homes. Another thing, the pointer in number 2 that I wanted to make is that for UCAS, I did not apply after getting my results, right? One thing which helped me to not rush things and not do things very quickly and get responses well on time, and also the criteria, is I applied for it during the course of my A2, which is A level, right? So when I was doing A2, I remember this was some time in September, October, no. It was definitely August, end of August, September. I was applying for UCAS. I was like, once I go for December holidays, I want to be chilling, knowing that I don't have to be writing personal statements. I just want to be enjoying my December, knowing that no, I'm just waiting for my results. And then after my results come in Jan, I'm going to be sending them out to the universities and then they'll give me their firm and final offers. The system of what this is called is applying for a conditional offer, right? Some students are fond of conditional offers, some students are not fond of conditional offers. Some universities be giving the craziest conditional offers. Conditional offers, I mean that they accept you, you apply before your results come out, and in your application it's going to indicate that no, you are writing, for example, October, November 2025, and you're applying right now. So they're going to give you a conditional offer to be like, okay, based off of the information that we're seeing, we accept you, but you need to get 3 A stars. That's a conditional offer. And the condition is usually the results that you're going to be getting and receiving in Jan, right? The conditional offers, a lot of students are not a fan of conditional offers because it puts a lot of pressure. And another thing with conditional offers is I've heard, rumors have it that for conditional offers, some universities have access to your results before you do. Allegedly, some universities have access to your results. These are things that I heard from people. I don't know if it's true or not. Allegedly, some universities have access to results before you, allegedly. So if a university gives you a conditional offer of, for example, 2 A's and 1B, and then they reject you and you haven't even opened your results yet, that means it's going to be a signal to you that I got less than 2 A's and 1B. So that's why a lot of students are not a fan of conditional offers. I genuinely didn't care about the downside of conditional offers. I was just like, I'm applying for university. I want it in such a way that like I want to do everything well on time, so that Jen is just submitting results and then waiting for firm and final offers. Out of my 5 choices, yes, I did get a conditional offer from all 5. The problem, not really the problem, but when results came out, I only qualified for 4. I didn't qualify for the 5th one because they said the conditional offer was getting 3 A's, and I didn't get 3 A's. I got 2 A's and 1B. So I qualified for these 4, and I was choosing one as my first choice and one as my insurance choice. That's the thing about UCAS is once you have submitted your application, you get to a point whereby they ask you for your firm, your firm and first choice of university, and then they ask you for an insurance choice. Insurance choice is usually the one which has lower conditional offers than the first choice. Let's say 2 of universities want 3 A stars. Don't choose this first one as a firm choice and then the insurance choice as the one which also requires 3 A stars. So what UCAS wants, it wants you to choose the first choice as the one which wants 3 A stars, and then the second one as one which has a lower standard, maybe something like 2 A's and 1B. The factors that I've written down to consider for the university that you're going to choose is benefits of schooling there. I'm going to give you an example of mine. For me, University of Reading, I stay in a catered accommodation room with a wash basin. Catered accommodation, it gives me that advantage that for the rent that I pay, there is meals which are included, and within my school ID there's what is called meal swipes. So there's cafeterias which are stationed across the school. I just tap my card to show that I took a plate, and then I eat and eat and eat and eat. And Kwano, there's nothing like, hey, be mindful and considerate of others, they didn't get. It's enough for everyone. And I'm yet to dwell more about my university in another video, but I'm giving you advantages of the prompt about benefits of schooling, benefits of the benefits which come with you schooling there. So for me, the biggest part was catering. That okay, thank gosh, the only money that I'll be spending on in terms of groceries is going to be toiletries being the big part of it and consuming most of my budget, and then a few snacks here and there to have at midnight and also for studying and things like that. Nearness to facilities. A lot of you do look towards recreation as a form of relaxing while studying. So that's a factor to consider when you're choosing a university, right? And then a way in which you can do this is you could go on Google and then search the university, or you could look at testimonial videos on TikTok, non-sponsored, please, non-sponsored videos on TikTok, and see what other students think of that university. Some of you go to the gym, some of you look towards window shopping as a recreation, and all of those things. So you could look at, okay, this university is located next to the mall. Does the university that you want, does it have the sports that you play? If you're a football player, does it have big opportunities for playing football? If it has rugby, does it have the rugby opportunities? If it has swimming, does it have swimming the opportunity to be exploring sports while studying. Like, you don't want that thing whereby your hobbies die down simply because that university doesn't offer that particular sport or hobby. Location is something which you need to consider. So if you are vulnerable to things like flu, you know, or certain locations are, this one is not ideal. With the UCAS personal statement, I want to tell you guys something. Is the difference between a UCAS personal statement and other universities' personal statement is that there is a particular section. I'm not going to be going over the structure of a personal statement in this video. I am not going to be doing that. I recommend that you research on those. When I say research, I'm not saying go on TikTok. TikTok shouldn't be used as a search engine. Go on things like YouTube and look at videos about personal statements, right? Look at the videos about personal statements and see what exactly is required of you, right? These videos, you'll identify that there's a particular section where they say you need to talk about why the university, right? It's divided in a personal statement. There is your why the course, and then your academic background, your extracurricular activities, why this university, how you're going to contribute with this university to change society, the world, or the country that you're going to go back home to. So in the section for why this university, the difference in UCAS, because in UCAS you'll be applying for 5 universities at the same time, right? This is not like other universities whereby you're applying like one application here, one application here, one application here, one application here. So the difference with UCAS is the section which is dedicated to why this university, you'll need to come up with a joint paragraph for all these universities. Don't name them and say this and this and this and this. You need to come up with a joint paragraph for all these universities and say, okay, this university is all these I've chosen all these universities because of this and 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 this, the similarity about opportunities for studying abroad, the similarities about all those kind of things, right? That's the difference between the UCAS personal statement and other universities' personal statements. Is what I can identify is that section which is dedicated to why this university, you're going to be having to identify what are the similarities between these universities which made me choose 5 of, like, which made them part of the big 5. Don't use ChatGPT as a source of, oh, write me a personal statement from A to Z, from 1 to 10, write me a personal statement which gave me to a university of this and this and this and this and this and this and that. Because number one is, if you ask AI, number one is over reliance on AI is actually something which is going to contribute negatively to your thought process. Number 2 is, if you ask if you say write everything down for me, and then you're just going to go copy and paste and then do edits of here and there and here and there, once they run it through their narrators and then they see that it's 100% AI, you're automatically going to be rejected, because it's like, why should we be accepting a student who is always going to be relying on AI? And they displayed signs of this by using AI to write their whole personal statement. Actually, my mom used to be an English teacher, so she was the one who was cross-checking my personal statement to make sure that it's fine. But if you do need help with cross-checking your personal statement, you can definitely go to the English teachers on campus and then ask them to go over it and see what to correct and things like that. One thing is for sure is you're not going to get your personal statement done overnight, guys. You're not. It took me how many samples of personal statements, how many drafts? Over 12 drafts of personal statement, of erasing, of, and also I wouldn't say it was like I was drawing it up right there and there. I was going paragraph by paragraph, paragraph by paragraph, paragraph by paragraph, and some parts of the paragraph I had to change them and alter them and be like, okay, this doesn't look right here, let me put it in this paragraph, but that's going to change the meaning, so let me do this and 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 this. So number one is you're not going to get your personal statement done overnight. That's something which is for sure. My personal statement was too long for UCAS, because UCAS has I forgot the character limit, but there are certain parts which I had to erase, and I had to do it very carefully in such a way that it doesn't leave some form of suspense on my background and reasoning behind certain things, right? So I needed to erase carefully so that it counts as part of the character limit. Because if it's beyond the character limit, it's flagged and you can't proceed to submit it, right? So I had to erase carefully And you know what, at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, I was just happy that, you know what, at least oversupply is better than undersupply. So a personal statement is stressful. It's so stressful because it seems like, what am I going to do to get things right? Like, why is it not falling into place? And one thing about me is I'm a perfectionist. So this thing of things not falling into place and dilodisa we listen, like things are not piecing together, was something which was so frustrating. On WID, before I pasted it on UCAS, throughout my A-level year, I was very intentional and disciplined in participating in extracurricular activities. This is something that I want to tell you guys, is experience in certain things is better than lying. Like, once you have experience, you know, you have a wider variety of, like, you have a wider scope and a bigger variety to explore certain terms and certain terminologies in your vocabulary, to be like, okay, swimming, there are certain strokes in swimming, I've done swimming, I know exactly what it entails, I know exactly the skills that it gave me. And you find that once you lie, or so it may be masked as creative writing, there is that element of, I haven't experienced it, so I don't know exactly what forms of vocabulary to explore. So definitely one thing is for sure is, I was participating in extracurricular activities, and you guys should be participating in extracurricular activities. If your friends are busy saying, it's lame, it's cringy, it's this and this, that's your future on the line. Tell them about it. If it's lame and cringy for you, then I don't know how we're friends. But I was very intentional and disciplined in participating in extracurricular activities, specifically in the year of 2024 more than 2023. As 2024 was my final year of A level, so I was like, no, I need to participate in extracurricular activities this year so that I'm able to contribute to my personal statement. During the year, I was doing, and also because I enjoy helping others, right? I enjoy helping others. So it was something which was like, this is something which is going to bring me fulfillment and happiness away from how dark and stormy that cloud of A level is. Is it true that schools don't focus on academics anymore? They want you to focus on, they want other scopes. Yes, it's true. That's why I'm saying what it's very important for you to be doing extracurricular activities, because once you have been and hands-on on this extracurricular activity, you have that thing of, I'm not going to be bothering anyone to be like, okay, give me intel onto how it was to be in the ARC club, in the Red Cross club, and things like that, being SRC president. Give me intel onto how it was, because I need to write a personal statement, because you were actively in that role and you know the relevant terminologies to use, you know the relevant skills that you've gained, you know the relevant problems that you're solving, the things that you're solving, you know the relevant role that you played, how it's going to contribute to your overall life skills, right? So that's why I'm saying what it's very important for you to be doing extracurricular activities, because it's going to contribute positively to your resume, and also it gives you that wider variety of vocabulary to work with. For personal statements, it wasn't easy, yes, but it was less difficult compared to stories that I've heard of people writing their personal statements. Some people say that they found it difficult simply because they were not doing extracurricular activities, so they were wondering what, from all the sports which exist in the country, which one should I start and include and say, I played this sport. I found it less difficult because I was participating in extracurriculars like crazy. Like, if you had Tsepi, class of 2024 A level knows, or if you had Tsepi o gongwe le gongwe, Tshepi o gongwe le gongwe. Kgantele Tshepi ke MC, Kgantele Tshepi is vice president, Kgantele Tshepi is an assistant teacher, Kgantele Tshepi is teaching economics, Kgantele Tshepi is a tutor, Kgantele Tshepi is a TikToker. I was everywhere. And I love it, Shem, because I was helping people in the process. Experience is way better than lying. So participate in those extracurricular activities. Think in your head. The example of extracurricular activities that I was doing is, I was an assistant teacher I was helping my teacher teach his classes in economics for grade 11s, I remember. And I was also an assistant teacher in guidance and counseling, right? So I had adopted a class for a year. It was a Form 2 class, and I had adopted them for a year. And basically, with adopting them for a year, I was, every Tuesday, I had to sacrifice. There were 3 periods after break, which I was free. So their class was, what's it called? The period immediately after break. So I had to sacrifice one of my free periods. And also with extracurricular activities, there's a lot of sacrifice which is involved. So with guidance and counseling and teaching this Form 2 class, Form 2 is grade 9, I had to sacrifice one of my free periods, and then I was only left with 2, from 3 to 2. So after break, while people were enjoying their free periods and eating and doing all those things, I had to sacrifice mine and go to and teach them Form 2s. And honestly, it was the best thing ever. It was the best thing ever being a teacher, because it's so, I honestly get curious about knowing how young, I know I'm also young, but the curiosity behind how young minds process what's going on in the world and how they act is something which I was curious about, and I got to understand their way of thinking, and also being a big sister to them. It was the best thing ever. So for me, something which was easier was going towards guidance and counseling instead of other subjects, both maths, yeah, because I was afraid, what, hey, kind of maths, I used to find it semi-difficult, so I didn't want to teach them the wrong things. But for sure, I was doing things like guidance and counseling was a safe zone for me, and it was the best decision I've ever made. Another thing is that I was MC for Talent Show for 2 years in a row. Another thing is that I was vice president for the A advocate for Red Cross Club. Those are all the experiences that I can think of from the top of my head. And because of these experiences, all these things taught me valuable skills: leadership skills, communication skills, team building, breaking down. You see, with being an assistant teacher, it taught me what there are certain things which are ambiguous to kids. So you need to break it down to be like, okay, you guys know AI as, you guys understand artificial intelligence as robots. Let me break it down to you into something where you'd understand how AI, the dangers of AI is actually affecting you as an individual. Let's start off with paragraph 1. If I'm not mistaken, paragraph 1, I understood that it was something behind why this course, right? And why you're basically expressing your interest behind this course. So in paragraph 1, I want to highlight something which is actually real. I did not lie, which is actually real. This is an extract from my personal statement. Let me read it. It says, the COVID-19 pandemic served as a pivotal moment for my curiosity, which underscored the fragile nature of our economic systems, hence exposing the stark realities of cyclical unemployment and firm closures. Being the only, you see, cyclical unemployment and firm closures, that is me applying my economics knowledge. We know about cyclical unemployment. It is unemployment on a broad level. It is unemployment whereby there is a decrease in aggregate demand, and this decrease in aggregate demand means that firms are not making sales, so they can't pay workers, so they close down. Cyclical unemployment and firm closures. Experience, COVID-19 pandemic, we experienced it. Experience is better than lying. Being the only girl in my economics class has uniquely influenced my perspective, as I've embraced the challenge of standing out, and it has ignited my determination to advocate for diversity within discipline and contribute to a more inclusive academic environment. In A2, I became the only girl in the only economics class in my school. So with being the only girl, there wasn't any problem at all. It was already an inclusive academic environment. I was the sister, and I had multiple brothers in the class. It gave me insight into how important it is for an inclusive academic environment to exist. An inclusive environment in general, it doesn't have to be, it goes beyond academics. An inclusive environment is important so that you feel safe, so that you feel comfortable, so that you are in a good state to be absorbing information. Next sections, so the other sections of then my academic background was my second paragraph, and then the other ones was just me exploring the extracurricular activities that I talked about. For example, teaching alongside the main instructor. That was the extracurricular activity of being an assistant teacher, and the skills that it taught me is importance of patience and empathy. You need to be patient and have a sense of empathy when it comes to teaching kids. Critical thinking skills, leadership skills, enhanced confidence, public speaking, communication skills. There was a lot of skills that I gathered and learned from being an assistant teacher. And then moving on, the next paragraph explores me being vice president of the Red Cross Club, communication and leadership skills, making informed decisions, organization and leadership skills, team working skills, those kind of things. And then serving as masters of ceremony, higher pressure setting, ability to adapt and come up with a solution in a higher pressure setting. There's section which I'm talking about how UCAS statements differ from other personal statements is, let me read it out. The universities have applied to have a strong foundation in economics with opportunities for professional placements or international exposure. The opportunity for professional placements and year abroad stands out to me as I'm eager to apply theoretical foundations in a diverse, dynamic environment, right? I am drawn to the opportunities for hands-on experience provided by these universities, which allow me to grow both academically and professionally by applying critical thinking and problem-solving skills. By studying at any of these institutions, I'll be prepared to contribute meaningfully to global discussions, things like that, right? So I want to further emphasize that experience is better than lying. The reason why I was having this vocabulary was because I was applying exactly what I was being taught in A level throughout school from the experience. Once you are hands on, being a teacher, you don't just show up and be present. You need to actually analyze what's going on. You need to break down the topics, the scopes of, okay, by the end of the term, we have covered this topic. How do you communicate it to students? How do you break it down to students? If you have any questions, be sure to ask in the comment section and then I will reply your comments. And if it requires any short form video, I am going to be making it on TikTok. So be sure to follow me on TikTok if you haven't already. I'm a big sister, I give academic advice. So if you guys are students, you can follow me on TikTok. And that's all that I have for you. I hope that I covered everything that I remember. If you guys have any questions, be sure to write them down below. Double degree in international relations and economics with a placement here. So when I was talking about professionals placements and international exposure within these 5 universities, some of them were with the year of studying abroad, with placements abroad. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found this video informative, and cheers to season 2 of Big Sister Diaries. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment and share.